I'm Stuart Rice. I have the honor of being the Master of Ceremonies for tonight, former president. And thank you. Thank you to my wife and daughter. Thank you. Does this rabbi know how to throw a party or what? Can't say that about too many rabbis. So the rabbi has said that we're going to keep this tight. Just a very brief ceremony.
You don't have to yell.
I don't have to yell. He's still telling me what to do. Yes, I do. He said the whole thing's going to be done in 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Of course, his speech alone is going to be about an hour and a half. But before we do the other formalities, we're going to bring back his good friend, world-renowned comedian Yisrael Campbell, for a few minutes of Jewish comedy.
Your past president who put on his best casual coat to come out this evening. So thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. As we said, there are still some naming opportunities. We're down to the pencil sharpeners in the classrooms. The old kind, the retro kind that with the pressurized stopper on the bottom. They're for sale at this point. So I brought my Haredi briefcase. What is it with the ultra-Orthodox? $3,000 on a fur hat. They can't afford a canvas bag? So just a few more stories. So I converted to Judaism. I first converted in the Reform movement. I took a course in basic Judaism. I found the course in the back of the LA Weekly. There was an ad. It said, "So you want to be a Jew?" That's not what it said, but wouldn't that be a great ad? I'm just going to move this a little aside. I'm not going to move it a little aside. It was a course in basic Judaism offered by the Union of Reform Judaism, then called the Hebrew Union, whatever. And I called the woman up, and she sent me a whole packet, a list of books you'd have to read if you took the course, a list of sponsoring rabbis if you were interested in conversion after the course, and an application at the bottom of which there was a member rate and a non-member rate. I called her up. I said, how can you have a member rate to an introductory course? It would seem by the very nature of the word introduction, you would not be a member. She said, you don't have to be Jewish to belong to a Reform synagogue. You can be married to a Jew, about to marry a Jew. I called all the sponsoring rabbis. I said, hi, I'm not Jewish. Can I join your synagogue? Most said no. Some said yes. And one guy, Rabbi Jim Kaufman, said, why do you want to join my synagogue? I said, I want to get the member rate. I didn't want to pay retail, and I didn't know why. So he said it's going to cost a lot more to join my synagogue than to pay the non-member rate. But if you want to join my synagogue, take my course in basic Judaism. He said their course is what is a bagel. My course is an introduction to Judaism, a comparison between Christianity. This was a Reform rabbi talking about a Reform course. This was not interdenominational fighting. This was intra-denominational fighting, which is important. I'm a big believer in Rabbi Yitz Greenberg's statement that it doesn't matter what denomination of Judaism you belong to, as long as you're ashamed of it. I took his course. I was there to find out I didn't like Judaism. I was on a spiritual search. I grew up Catholic, as I said. I thought if you don't like Catholic, you're not going to like Jewish, right? If you don't like the fruit, you're not going to like the tree. I fell in love. At the end of the course, I said, Rabbi Jim, what do I have to do to convert? He said, you have to answer these 5 questions in the affirmative. Shouldn't he have told me the questions before he told me the answers? Yes, 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 yes. What are the questions? They were these. 1, did I come to this decision of my own free will? Yes. 2, did I sever any former religious affiliations? Yes. I didn't write the Pope and say, I'm out. I think he knew. It wasn't this Pope, the poor Pope. And it wasn't the Pope before this Pope, the Nazi Pope. Oh, he wasn't a Nazi. He was a member of the Hitler Youth. And he deserted the German army in 1945. Might I remind you, Hitler deserted the German army in 1945? 1945 was no great year to be in the German army. You want my respect for desertion, 42 at the outside. But it wasn't that Pope, it was the Pope before that Pope, John Paul II. You may not know this, but John Paul II made more people saints than all the other popes put together. I may have been on some short list. I may have been just months or weeks away from being named a saint. And I gave that all up to be with you here tonight. What did you do? Third question was, do you throw your lot in with the Jewish people, come what may? Yes, he said I had to answer yes, but what does that mean? My name was Chris Campbell. No beard, no pants, no hat under my hat. When your name is Chris Campbell and you look like that, when they come for the Jews, you say, they went that way. 4, would I become an active part of the Jewish community? Yes. I became a member of the Board of Trustees my first year in the temple. My first night on the board, I made a motion. I move all board members should have to come to Minyan. They almost threw me off the board that night. Five, if ever blessed with children, would I raise them as Jews? Yes. Now then they sent, that was going to be the Beit Din, and then you have to have mikveh, you have to go in the pool of water, the living body of water, and for men you have to be circumcised. Now, I was born in a Catholic hospital in 1963, and I was circumcised. Thank God. I don't know if that was President Kennedy's responsibility or the Secretary of Health and Human Services or the Surgeon General's, whoever it was. Thank you. But even if you've been circumcised, you have to have a hatafat dam brit. When they say it in Hebrew in America, it's so you won't understand what they're talking about. Because hatafat dam brit sounds like a hachakichiwa. I'll have a hachakichiwa. I'll have 2. Hachakichiwa sounds like a drink that should come with an umbrella in it. What they're talking about is ritual bloodletting, not from your thumb. So they send me to a urologist in North Hollywood, California, and I get to the office and the woman says, there's a piece of paper taped to the table, and she says, sign that list. I said, what's that list? I don't like being on lists. She said, that's the permanent list. If you ever lose this piece of paper, you won't have to have this done again. I'm not going to lose this piece of paper. I've lost my passport. I've never lost that piece of paper. She brought me into the room. She gave me that robe you wear at a doctor's office. It's open in the back for a circumcision. You just wear it open to the front. Very serious woman. She looked me dead in the eye and she said, wash your penis for 3 minutes. Minutes? That was 10 seconds. I don't think I've ever washed my penis for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I'm not washing anymore. Actually, after 3 minutes, I'm done. I waited 5 minutes. I brought a book. Who brings a book to a circumcision? Finally, the doctor came in. He said, we have to pray in Hebrew and draw blood. I've never prayed so hard in my entire life. That was my Reform conversion. And I want to tell you one more thing, and I know we're on a tight schedule. Okay. The most Jewish welcome to Judaism I've ever received across the board was in the Reform movement. And I know this is a conservative synagogue, but what the hell? I want to tell the truth. No, really, 36 times it says in the Torah to welcome the stranger. We suck at that. We're like, welcome the stranger. What could God have meant? This is Kabbalah. 3 times it says not to mix milk and meat. We have books and books and books about not mixing milk and meat. The steam. You know that the steam can carry the milk to the meat? Do you know what happens if you cut an onion with a meat knife? We don't have time to go into what happens if you cut an onion with a meat knife. But let me tell you, it's really, really bad. If there is cheese in the universe that you are in, 3 times, there are libraries of books. 36 times, and we're like, I got nothing. So I did my Reform conversion, and then I did my my conservative conversion at Temple Beth Am, and I started to put on tefillin there. I learned how to put on tefillin from Herb Marcus, who is Mark's uncle. 6 months I sat next to Herbie. He showed me how to put on tefillin, and he showed me once, and I did it the same exact way for 6 months. Then I found out there's an Ashkenazic way to put on tefillin. There's a Sephardic way to put on tefillin. There's a Hasidic way to put on tefillin. How do I put on tefillin? Like Herb Marcus. That's all I know. And then I went to Israel and I did my 3rd conversion because really out of practicality, in case I ever wanted to get married there or die there. That's not true. They'll let you die. They just won't bury you. Now I live in Jerusalem. I read the Jerusalem Post. Do you read the Jerusalem Post? I read the Jerusalem Post because I'm a comedian. They recently had a survey that 85% of the Jewish public believes that the government is corrupt. 85%, that is an incredibly high number for the public to believe that the government is corrupt. But what that means is that 15% of the population is completely out of touch with reality. I don't know if you remember this. They had a story about the IDF killed a master Hamas bomb maker. That's what the headline said. IDF kills master Hamas bomb maker. The guy had 1 arm and no legs. I'm going to say he wasn't a master bomb maker. I'm going to say he was a mildly proficient bomb maker at best. But my question is this: if you show up for master bomb making class and the teacher has 1 arm and no legs, can you defer till next semester? Because I want the 2-armed, 2-legged master bomb making teacher. You can imagine when a guy like me shows up for a flight on El Al with a passport that says Christopher Campbell. They're like, we got him! Because they think I just forgot to switch the passport. And they would ask, why did you convert to Judaism? I tell them the whole story. Say I was seeking a community of people with which I could struggle to have a relationship with God. Perhaps not have that relationship, but struggle to have that. El Al is not interested in putting people on airplanes that are struggling to have a relationship with God. They don't even like vegetarian meal requests. So now they say, why did you convert to Judaism? I say the women. And the women of El Al say, of course. And the men of El Al say, good luck. After I converted in the Reform community, I married a Muslim. I converted in so I could marry out, because I wanted to be Jewish. Americans hate that joke. Israelis love that joke. We're like, yeah, we don't marry out. We can't even marry each other. The Rabbanut is tough. But I did. I married an Egyptian, no less, from Palos Verdes. Father was a doctor. He came to America. He married his nurse, was a Protestant from Ohio. But the Muslims don't care. What the men are, the people are. I brought my Egyptian wife to a Passover Seder.